Now, Vijaya Gadde, if you follow the Twitter files, even if you didn't follow the Twitter files, you may remember Vijaya Gadde, who was an extraordinarily high-ranking official at Twitter. Many people knew who she was kind of just because of that, but also many were introduced to her during her appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast with Tim Pool, where Tim Pool does a very, very good job bringing the facts and kind of grilling her on selective censorship on the platform. And she looked completely unprepared. She probably thought it would be a fluff interview. And it was a wonderful, perhaps Tim's biggest moment there on the biggest stage. So I think a lot of credit goes to Tim for that. But she just had no answers. It was like, give me an example. I'll have to circle back. Oh, give me an example. Well, I don't know. It was one of the most, it spawned many memes. And Elon Musk never liked this woman. She had a massive, massive salary at Twitter in the tens of millions of dollars, and she got a huge amount of money to leave. That said, throughout the Twitter files, we saw all the various different pieces coming together to paint a picture of some serious nefarious action, including working directly with the United States government to censor its citizens' First Amendment rights, including what appeared to be an extraordinarily politically biased little super secret cult between her and Yoel Roth and at times Jack Dorsey, where they were just arbitrarily deciding on whether or not people were allowed to say the things that they perhaps wanted to say. And it's absolutely appalling. And just a quick reminder, if you're enjoying this coverage, it's brought to you by Meta PCs. Meta PCs is my partner. I've been working with them for years. It's the computer I'm on right now. It's the computer my office manager uses. It's the laptop I use. It's the one I recommend to my friends and family. And I worked with them to put together this page where there's a good, better, best, and ultimate edition. In fact, my exact computer is right here in the bottom. You may not be in the market right this second, but when you are, remember Meta PCs. I'll leave a link in the description below and promo code TheQuartering, and you'll save money. They also do custom builds, laptops, all sorts of stuff. Now, back to the congressional hearings. The issue here with Vijaya is, as Michael Schellenberger points out, Vijaya Gadde, the former general counsel for Twitter, claims that its censorship of the particular article about the president's son's laptop was done in line with policy against hack materials, but she does not mention that Roth and his team found that they were in fact not from hacking. It is my opinion, of course, that Vijaya Gadde, which ultimately was the one that banned Donald Trump, if you remember, leave a like on this video right now. By the way, I'm so close to 1.5 million subs. If you haven't subscribed yet, for my birthday's coming up in April, let's hit it by that. There was extremely strong evidence that the emails were authentic and not the result of hacking. The New York Post included a picture of the receipt signed by the president's son, all sorts of stuff. Essentially, it's my opinion that Vijaya Gadde and Yoel Roth just said, this looks bad for Biden. We're going to end the story. That's my opinion, right? And the Twitter files help really fill in a lot of factual nuggets around that. It would have taken a few minutes for Jim Baker, Yoel Roth, and Vijaya Gadde to confirm whether or not the FBI subpoena was real or fake. None of them even bothered to do so. Yoel Roth, like Vijaya, opened his statement. Well, let's talk about Vijaya, because I already talked about Yoel Roth. And Jim Baker is coming up later. He's a real piece of work. So here we have former head of trust and safety, Vijaya Gadde, testifies under oath about the computer, the president's son's computer. And a lot of people are like, so private company, what's law was broken? I don't know how stupid you have to be to understand that there was, not just a law that was broken, but the First Amendment was infringed. The U.S. government, in my opinion, used Twitter to infringe on United States citizens' First Amendment rights. At best, in terms of the laptop, Vijaya Gadde, Yoel Roth, and others at Twitter acted upon their own accord and used their own sole discretion to alter the conversation to suppress data that may have appeared bad for Joe Biden in running up to his presidency. And people might say, well, what law? Okay, how about this? Under Section 230, Twitter, YouTube, and all social media platforms have kind of qualified immunity. It's like, that's maybe not the right term, but they have immunity to many lawsuits. And it's what allows social media to really exist. So for example, if you, a user, post something terrible on their platform, they can't be sued for it. If they ignore something long enough, for example, like, Twitter has on record images and stuff like of the youngins that they had to literally be sued to remove, but they can't be sued. You can, but they can't. This is just part of the Section 230 protection. This is just part of the Section 230 protection. The reason, again, this is important is because otherwise they couldn't let people post freely because they would be, sued into oblivion. Follow me here. In exchange for that, these platforms must act as a platform, not a publisher. Meaning, if they keep their hands off certain content, then they have the plausible deniability to say, I didn't post that. We'll ban the user, but we can't be sued. Once they start, let's say, pushing their fingers on the scales, right? Banning content that disproportionately affects one political side or the other, or even content that does not violate their terms of service, but they just feel like suppressing, that is acting like a publisher. Now, in reverse, in a way, right? You're acting like a publisher by suppressing stories as opposed to producing them, but you're still enacting editorial control over your user's content, which would disqualify you from Section 230 protection. That's why it's important. That's what laws have been broken here. And that's the best case scenario.
Defending free expression and maintaining the health of the platform required difficult judgment calls. Most applications of Twitter's rules were fact-intensive, subject to internal debate, and needed to be made very quickly. We recognized that after applying our rules, we might learn that some of them did not work as we imagined and that we would need to update them. We always remained open to new information from our customers and critics regarding our policies and enforcement.
No, they didn't.
At times, we also reversed course. For example, on October 14, 2020, the New York Post tweeted articles about Hunter Biden's laptop with embedded images that looked like they may have been obtained through hacking.
Nope. That's only the current narrative. You never thought that in the beginning. You use that as cover.
In 2018, we had developed a policy intended to prevent Twitter from becoming a dumping ground for hacked materials. We applied this policy to the New York Post tweets and blocked links to the articles embedding those source materials. At no point did Twitter otherwise prevent tweeting, reporting, discussing, or describing the contents of Mr.
Bull. They greatly suppressed. Even YouTube right now, there's a reason I say the president's son's computer, right? Now with these testimony videos, these videos will all be suppressed anyway. Like if you just mention it, I can tell. It's just like when I cover an expose from, the PV company. If I put their name in the title, if I mention their name, it gets suppressed. This is why, my viewers on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, that's why I have all that set up. By the way, I'm going to set up community notes for Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey too. That just reminded me. Anyway, we have our shows on Thursday night at 5 o'clock, me and Sydney Watson. Then let's go to some of the more hilarious ones. This one is very interesting. Representative Mace. Well, I'll let her cook.
I have another question, my last one for you, Ms. Gadde. Did the U.S. government ever contact you or anyone at Twitter to pressure Twitter to moderate or censor certain tweets? Yes or no?
That's a long pause. Longer.
We have a program.
Did the U.S. government ever contact you or anyone at Twitter to censor or moderate certain tweets? Yes or no?
We receive legal demands to remove content from the platform from the U.S. government and governments all around the world. Those are published on a third-party website.
I have no.
That's a yes, right? That's a yes. How about this? Nancy Mace asks Vijaya Gadde if she's a doctor, then absolutely roasts her.
has done to censor folks is from Dr. Martin Koldorf, a Harvard-educated epidemiologist, who once tweeted, "COVID vaccines are important for high-risk people and their caretakers. Those with prior natural infection do not need it, nor children." The Twitter files reveal this tweet was deemed false information because it ran contrary to the CDC. So my first question this morning of Ms. Gadde, may I ask of you, where did you go to medical school?
I did not go to medical school.
I'm sorry?
I did not go to medical school.
That's what I thought. Why do you think you or anyone else at Twitter had the medical expertise to censor a doctor's expert opinion?
Our policies regarding COVID were designed to protect individuals. We were seeing
You guys censored Harvard-educated doctors, Stanford-educated doctors, doctors that are educated in the best places in the world, and you silenced those voices. My next question.
I mean, absolute destruction. I mean, it's so hilarious that, like, and so, yes, okay. So first we say, will there be anything that comes of this? Well, we're having congressional hearings. What's the next step after this? Well, I certainly would love to see some lawsuits. Will any of these people be behind bars? I think that that's probably going too far, but I sure would like to see them financially broke. That would be interesting. How about some class action lawsuits? I mean, this is not a good look, right? Where did you go to medical school? Here's a bunch of doctors who are sharing their medical opinions, and just because you didn't like them, you banned them from their platform. You can look at Dr. Robert Malone as another one. There are many doctors that shared, I mean, just absolute destruction.
Is the U.S. government, I have another chart I want to show you, Ms. Gadde. I have another tweet by someone with a following of a full 18,000 followers. This person put a chart from the CDC on Twitter. It's the CDC's own data, so it's accurate by your standards. And you all labeled this as misleading. You're not a doctor, right, Ms. Gadde?
Woo-wee. I can't wait for Jim Baker, too, because he is the scumbaggiest of scumbags. Make sure you leave a like on this video. Make sure if you haven't yet, you subscribe and you turn notifications on so you don't miss a single upload today. I'm going through all the congressional hearings in real time and then condensing them and uploading them for you. And if you want to give me an early birthday present, if you haven't yet, please do consider subscribing. Trying to hit 1.5 million by my birthday. That sure would be neat. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll talk to you again real soon.